Peace, peace. Happy now. Now's the vibrate, of course. Not going too far in the future. Not going too far in the past. Right now. Unconditional love is about loving a person unconditionally, meaning, you know, loving them, loving a person and letting them be themselves. It's not saying, hey, I only will love you if you act like this. If you don't act like this, I'm not gonna love you. And of course, we might have had unconditionally or conditional liking. Sometimes our parents condition like, I don't like you doing this. But for the most part, they always had unconditional love. But the unconditional love, I thought about the vibe of just letting people, be themselves. And I think about the dynamic of how, and I done spoke to this, but it's been a while since I spoke to this, where, it's not my job to go around people and forcing them to try to be like me. And at the same time, I'm not supposed to, go around people and act like I'm not myself, just so things could be smooth, just so that everybody could be getting along. I'ma not be myself or not speak up on what I know is true, just so we all could get along. Neither one of those things is my job. So it's not me. It's not my job to force nothing upon nobody, nor to allow something to be forced upon me. And with that being said, I think about like with my relationship with some people, and two, getting back to that place where, I get to that place of that cutthroat, and I ain't even say cutthroat, cause matter of fact, when I'm rocking with that turquoise, that truthful energy is on that true source guiding, like, where somebody talk about, might say some dumb shit like, oh yeah, I drink alcohol to get rid of the kidney stones or something like that. I'm just throwing something out there, but like, say for instance, in some settings, in one setting, I could be like, well, instead of speaking on what I know and speaking, what I, how can I say, in essence, the truth about, health and what I know about, the body. Instead of speaking on that, I'm gonna just be quiet because I don't want to go back and forth with that person. It's like, nah, speak up, say what you gotta say. But then again, at the same time, you start to realize, though, say for instance, being true to myself, I'm in a place where I'm speaking truthful. I don't speak to, oh man, that happened because so and so did this. Like, nah, I know that everything is an aspect. Everything happens due to what's going on in our internal universe. You co-creating, but it deals with our soul contracts before we got here and what's going on in our inner universe. And with that being said, when people have to go to talking about like, oh yeah, I know so and so, this must have happened because this person, I got a flat tire because I ran over a nail. Like in the simplicity of that, and it's like, well, nah, you got that flat tire, and then hearing the whole story and seeing that it, after they got that flat, they ended up going somewhere else. And it's like, seeing that situation, I'm gonna speak it up front for the truth. What I'm saying? I'm gonna say what it is. And what I'm getting at basically is that, as I'm, on my experience, on my growth, I realize, once I get to a certain level of vibrating at a certain frequency, that's why a lot of times we do start to stay to ourselves a little more, because, say for instance, with the way I'm strong about, being healthy in certain areas and certain people not, it gets to a place where, you won't, having a conversation, like you won't be able to even really have a conversation because it's two different frequencies, you know what I'm saying? And I shouldn't bring down my frequency to talk to them, and they shouldn't have to like, well, let me quickly, raise my frequency. Of course, it would be beneficial to their soul to raise their frequency. It's beneficial to society for somebody to raise their level up to get to that high level instead of somebody with a high level going down back to the level they came from. But it's neither one of our jobs to change in that moment, in essence. Of course, now we could do our best to meet each other in the middle if we want, but again, that person, if they enjoy football, going fishing and reading, Essence magazine, and that's what they love, If I see that that's something I don't gravitate towards, I'm not gonna try to forcefully like, oh, well, just because that's my brother or my sister or somebody I grew up with, let me try to forcefully be around them, and hang with them, just because we grew up together and this and that. So let me just like, nah, it got to a point, or it gets to a point where we no longer interested or dealing with the same things, then don't try to force that relationship. Again, unconditional love, still loving that person under no matter what condition of what they deal with or what they do. But unconditional love don't mean I have to always be around that person, you know what I'm saying? Love does reach over distances. Love is quantum. You know, it's like, oh, I could only feel the love if this person is sitting right on side of me. Now of course, people who are the more disconnected you are on a metaphysical level, the more closed your pineal gland is, and your chakras, the more closed down your chakras are, of course a person going back, oh, I can't really feel that love over distance, which is more of the illusion of it. They're just so blocked up, but again, I don't have to be on top of a person to show them love. And again, back to the vibe of seeing on my own growth. If I understand that a person always likes to talk about football and fishing trips and stuff like that, and I'm always talking about planets and the double slit experiment and chakras, I'ma just allow for myself, when I'm feeling the vibe. And you done seen it happen where that person that may gravitate towards something different from you, and you gravitate towards something else, but then you had a little urge to connect with that person one day, and then when y'all connect, it's that perfect timing because y'all both were willing. Again, like, it's an exact equation, like, both in the vibration of, hey, I could actually talk about a fishing trip or a football game or two, and the other person like, I could actually I actually feel like talking about some of that astrology stuff and them chakras and seeing, you know what I'm saying? Then again, that vibration gets put out to the universe, and then y'all both catch the feeling of like, man, let's vibe today. Let's catch that little vibe. But again, neither one should be being inauthentic just for the sake of let's be, we buddies, so let's seem like we agree about certain things just to be, nice with each other right now, just so we could, be friends and chill. Like, nah, it's about being authentic. And if you have certain authentic views, about a certain situation, like you don't have to. Again, I think about this aspect too, like, because this is somewhat the same thing as well. Like, I think about brethren. Me and a brethren was talking about, like, when somebody might invite you to a church or something like that. Oh, as a matter of fact, hold on, I caught the vibe that maybe I shouldn't go way off into the story. Again, yeah. Well, to a certain extent, yeah, I could go into it, but basically, well, you catch the vibe of like how I know that if I go to this church, people are constantly going to say things that's going to be in disagreement with the information that I study and the inner gnosis I deal with, So in that moment, I'm not going to try to forcefully like, oh, well, let me go deal with these Christians, because that seemed like the moralistically good thing to do is when somebody invites you to a church or something, you just go, even if you disagree with the whole establishment. Like, and we was bullcorning, like, because if we was to go, it'd just be a drainage of energy of constantly having to say, oh no, well, Christ wasn't really a historical figure, such and such was written by this person and this and that. Like, it would expend all your energy trying to expound on that information. And then in a situation where, again, the people don't necessarily care to know about the truth or know your truth in the first place. So here it is again, where you just in essence holding yourself out of place, or you know basically finding yourself in a situation where, or just how your niceness could put you in situations, or where I'm trying to find the right apologies, y'all. Again, I'm working with this the ground. Because I do see a certain level. Because I ain't did a video from this vibe in a minute. Like, well, like I'm kind of like, I haven't eaten. I'm like grounded maybe with crystals to a certain extent, a little meditation, but I haven't eaten nothing. So it's still kind of like that little high vibration. So it's like trying to push things out. But just what I'm getting at with the whole vibe of me saying let people, be themselves is, I'm not gonna, choose to go around somebody knowing that they're not trying to hear about the knowledge I'm speaking. And at the same time, I'm not gonna go around somebody not speaking on what I love and what's true to me just because I know they're not ready for it, And that's where you start to see, well, then all right, my vibe, I should be dealing with people, places, and things that, where it's a beneficial, it's a mutual beneficial relationship, where we benefiting from each other. Neither one of us is necessarily bothering each other, where I'm not always, because again, just like, and looking back on my growth, like say when I was drinking 40s and popping Xanax, I wasn't trying to be around somebody that was always just hyped up on the spiritual vibe, like, so I get it, and again, it wasn't my place to hurry. Well, let me hurry up and, evolve spiritually right in your face while I got this 40 in my hand, like, nah, of course it would be beneficial. It would, be beneficial for me to grow, but again, it had to take its time, and not just in that moment, being forced on me, and nor should a person who is dealing with spirit say, well, let me drink that 40 and act like this person just so I could sit down and talk. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, nah, you don't have to go outside of your means, We should be able to meet each other, at the most halfway, and not, but, and really and truthfully though, in this day and time, to be honest with you, maintaining our high vibration, not lowering our vibration to connect. There's a vibe of, you could be more sociable in a manner that's not lowering your vibration, where you kind of vibing on a level where you kind of able to talk on certain things and deal with certain things while actually lowering your vibration. But then you got that vibe of like, oh, let me really act like this person, and lower my conscious understanding, and talk on a level that's backwards to my conscious understanding. Like say for instance, I understand to never talk down on a female or to disrespect the divine feminine. So if I see some brethren like bitch this or fuck a hoe this and that, I'm not going to partake in that behavior just to be a part of that. You know what I'm saying? Again, there's a difference compared to where I see them talking like that, but I'll just have an approach of like, oh man, like you saw the football game or the bat, like dealing with something that may be more of a mundane human situation, but it doesn't necessarily lower my vibration in essence, I'm able to still, socialize to a certain extent while I'm not just seeming like I'm far out there, and at the same time not lowering my vibration just to be in a conversation, But again, and that's why I'm speaking on this too, because again, getting back to that place where I see myself being, that what society would call cutthroat or brutal truth or blunt truth, but I'm just back to being that true vibe of expressing myself. And when I get like that, I of course not fearing going anywhere, but more so just knowing like maybe I shouldn't even go to this place because this person or these people not trying to hear what I'm speaking, and I'm not trying to lie or act like I'm like the truth that I deal with isn't the truth. Like I'm not trying to comply to the falsehoods either. So let me just stay away from that person, place, or thing. You know what I'm saying? Maybe when we gravitate it, the universe will line it up. You know, but again, when I'm in that vibe, it's like it's kind of like I think about it because to a certain extent, which I have that relationship. I think about with my sister of asking like, hey, you letting your kids talk to me, and yet you still like you may be still dealing with certain parts of the system that I don't deal with and that I know is bullshit or fugazi. And again, as I'm talking to my little nephews, and which is pretty cool that my sister, shout out to my sister and my brother-in-law, but do allow for that openness of just letting them sit there and run it with me. But on that level where again, because I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, either you don't want me around at all, because again, I'm not gonna act like I don't know what I know. I'm not gonna act like you know act like I'm not dealing with the energy I'm dealing with, just for the sake of being cordial, again, with a part of, again, the ego, like being cordial with the ego, there's a certain level of, going backwards that it is doing, when we reach a certain understanding, but we complying with ego. Let me not be soulful and spiritually authentic right now so I could bow down to my relatives or my friends ego, and it's like and in that moment, basically, you telling your source energy to bow down to a parasitic energy, you know, and not saying that the people parasitic, but when, including ourselves, whenever we occupied by that egoic mind and, in that, lower nature and, hadn't opened that third eye yet, and again, just being in that egoic mind, that's a parasitic, nature in essence, you know. So in that moment, you like, fuck you, God, fuck, fuck all the affirmations of saying I am truth and, I speak truth, fuck all that. I'm about to bow down to this parasite right now and not speak and stand on the truth that I know exists, or that I'm pretty sure exists if you don't know, what I'm saying? However you see it, I'm gonna stand back from that so I can bow down to this parasitic energy. That's basically what we're saying with those actions, you know. With again complying to those lower vibrations, just for the sake of being cordial with everybody and being people pleasing to make sure I ain't making nobody mad, to make sure I ain't making my Christian family members mad. I'm not gonna speak about the book, The World's 16 Crucified Saviors, and I'm not gonna speak on the Nicene Councils and Constantine because they still stuck on the past, like they still stuck in the parasitic behavior that's, consuming the world for the worse, or trying to consume the world for the worse, like, nah, I'm gonna speak on that shit, you know what I'm saying? So again, and if the level is where I know these people really don't want to hear this, then I'm not gonna go around them people, you know what I'm saying? Because either they gonna hear what I have to say was real, or I'm gonna just keep myself from around, you know what I'm saying? And that's again back to what I was basically getting at, like let people be themselves, like I can't force nothing upon you, and I'm for damn sure not about to let you force any ignorance upon me, so but I still love you unconditionally, no matter how much you want to be in denial of certain truths, facts, information, certain logical reason, and certain intuitive reason. No matter how much you want to be in denial of it, still love you. but I'm not gonna sit and be around you. You know what I'm saying? You know, disrespecting the source within myself, you know, holding myself down after doing all this work to pick myself up. Like, not doing all this work and working out and doing all this just so I could let somebody else pull me back down. But that's basically it, you know. Again, just, you know, gotta let people be themselves, you know. Be true and authentic to yourself at all times. And if somebody, it's it's almost like a battle, or like stepping into a vamping situation where you going somewhere that doesn't, where you knowing you going somewhere that doesn't appreciate your authenticity and, and who you are truly, then you setting yourself up to be in a little situation where, again, you're going to constantly having to, protect the integrity of your energy and what you stand for, kind of how I think about, like, when somebody say, oh, Jesus is the creator of all and he's he's the master of all. If I was to sit there when somebody makes that statement and not say anything, I would be in agreement with that. Is like not saying something is like telling my subconscious, like, oh yeah, Jesus is the controller of all and this and that. Again, so that's why, I wouldn't even go to a church, because they speaking on things that's like, nah, you know what I'm saying? I would constantly be in my head like, that's not true. Higher self, that's some bullshit. Because that's what I do. Sometimes I say it out loud, or sometimes, depending on the setting, I say it to myself out loud. But some people be like, man, I remember, Donald Trump running everything. He gonna try to do this to all people, man. All people gonna end up getting fucked. I'm like, nah, speak for yourself. I'm not getting fucked up about that energy or what you talking about. Like, speak for yourself. Don't throw that shit on me, and I'm not gonna allow for it to be thrown on me, by being silent while you suggesting this information. Like, I'm gonna speak up. It is what it is. Shout out to the turquoise, though. I'm feeling that vibe heavy. But that's basically it, Let people be themselves, not trying to change nobody. Be the change we want to see. We go from there. Take action from inspiration from my spirit. Be in alignment first and foremost. And from that alignment, take action due to the inspiration, or the impulses from spirit. Peace. Happy now. Now's a vibrate, of course. Not too far in the future. Not too far in the past. Right now. Peace, peace.